wondering how I got into this mix. Mind playing tricks and I'm feeling for a fix.
Hey friends, this is Derek Rose with the Conscious Resistance Network, and today let's talk about why it's time to stop celebrating criminals. So if you've seen my recent little op-ed piece, I guess you could call it, here on theconsciousresistance.com, then you know what I'm talking about. I did a piece last week that was about this very topic of why the heck we live in a backwards world, bizarro world, where the criminals are celebrated and the people who are trying to expose the criminals are called criminals and jailed and things of this sort. And it's because the people are swimming in a sea, a constant stream of lies, disinformation, misinformation, which has got us so confused, many of you out there so confused, that you're now supporting and praising establishment figures who are responsible for criminal acts. And in some cases, these are people that you may have called out in the past whenever it was fashionable. For example, those of you who under the Obama administration were all about, calling him out for his war crimes and calling out John McCain and calling out the CIA and calling out the establishment. But now you're willing to support it as long as it's, Trump doing it. You're being hypocritical. And then the other side, people who are also critical of people like John McCain and say former CIA head John Brennan, now supporting those people simply because Trump is against them. I mean, it's just so much backwards nonsense that I can't even really wrap my mind around it. But in this piece, if you just take a look here, you can see that, I go through different tweets of people who claim to care about freedom, including Bernie Sanders saying that, John McCain is an American hero, a man of decency and honor, and a friend of mine. He's all about respect and independence. John McCain was a warrior for peace. He will be deeply missed. Then you also have, of course, George Soros calling McCain a brave warrior for human rights who stood up against repression and torture. And then, unfortunately, I think for some of you on the left who thought Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was this new, I've heard her called the new Obama, she sold out according to some of her followers on Twitter when she called McCain an unparalleled example of human decency and American service. Excuse me while I throw up in my mouth a little bit. And rightfully so, people were tweeting their disappointment in her and just saying like, wow, I thought you were about it, now you're supporting this guy. But as I said, McCain, when you really look at him, for my audience, I probably don't have to tell you, this is probably not news to you, but for those who don't know, John McCain has just been responsible for promoting war after war and intervention after intervention. There's one journalist here who tweeted out this list of countries that, as of 2013, John McCain had called for war in, including Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, Kosovo, Nigeria, Bosnia, North Korea, Iran, Russia, Sudan, Mali, and China. In 2011, after Gaddafi was kicked out by the U.S. after they bombed him, and which led to him being killed by his own people, and has led to now slave markets actively and openly in Libya. John McCain tweeted, Gaddafi is on his way out. Bashar al-Assad is next, August 2011, right? He's been trying to get rid of Assad out of Syria for some time. Then you also have the fact that McCain was, pushing for the bombing in Libya, Syria. He also went on this secret trip to Syria where he connected with the CIA-backed Free Syrian Army, which is, of course, actually connected to various terror groups that the U.S. has supported and continues to support to this day, and their effort to get rid of Bashar al-Assad. This is the kind of man that McCain was, So I advise you, if you want to know more about him, look at these articles that I included here. In addition to the information I put in, there's 3 more articles that go very much in depth. And then Abby Martin's got this video right here, John McCain's Legacy of Bloodlust and Warmongering. It'll tell you the truth about what's going on with John McCain. Then you also have this former CIA director, John Brennan, who recently lost his security clearance due to Trump. And it's this whole mainstream BS saga that they want you to be distracted by. It's not even really worth your time. It's just like a bunch of kids in the schoolyard playing and just screaming at each other. But that's what they want you to pay attention to. And so now they have people who, again, formerly opposed John Brennan, and just the fact that he's a spy, he's a spook, he's from the CIA, are now supporting him and attacking Trump, saying, how dare Trump get rid of his security clearance? It's just a status thing. Like, why the heck do people need the security clearance if they're not in government anyways? And who the heck are you? Why are you defending a government program? I just don't understand it. It's so backwards, right? John Brennan comes on supposed progressive Bill Maher's Real Time with Bill Maher, and he gets a standing ovation from the crowd. Bill Maher praises him, says he's a real American patriot, and of course they attack Trump and all this kind of stuff, and it gives John Brennan just a chance to try to look good for the people. And I guarantee you, most of the people in the audience had no idea who John Brennan was. Most Americans don't know who the heck John Brennan is, and that's fine. I'm just saying, like, don't act like you know anything about these people just because it becomes trendy to be against or be for them because you're against Trump, right? And it's a dangerous move. And again, if you've watched my work, read my articles, you know I don't support Trump by any means, but it's just so silly to see how backwards and how twisted up people have gotten now. And this is what they want. They want us to not be able to tell what is up from down. And again, like I said earlier, the heroes are criminalized and penalized. The people who are trying to expose the criminals are the ones they're going after, and the criminals are the celebrated ones. They're marching the streets. They're giving them libraries and buildings and awards and all this kind of, it's nonsense. If you don't know anything about John Brennan, he was formerly called the architect of Obama's disposition matrix, which is also known as the presidential kill list. The kill list that Ben Swann famously asked Obama about straight to his face. And this spy master was also a big player, a vital role in the torture programs of George W. Bush. So whenever Obama decided he wanted to appoint Brennan, a lot of the left wing, the liberals, and some on the right who were actually about freedom, were criticizing Obama, like, look at him, he's just like Bush. He's putting in, somebody connected to the CIA, or he's putting in somebody connected to torture as the head of the CIA. And the ACLU wrote that the Senate should not move forward with the nomination of John Brennan until it is clear he's committed to making sure that the CIA will end its targeting killing program and basically make sure that they will disclose information about torture and abuse. Of course, that never happened. And John Brennan did become the head of the CIA, and until recently, he lost his security clearance. So this guy's involved in torture. He's involved in supporting mass surveillance. He's involved in the presidential kill list and all kinds of different things. But he's getting a standing ovation. He's a great American patriot, according to Bill Maher and his dangerously, dangerously ignorant audience. And I do have empathy and sympathy for all of us out here in the world who are trying to navigate this. And like I said, we're swimming in a sea of misinformation and disinformation and lies. And it's hard to, tell one thing from the other. But we have to think critically. We have to encourage our brothers and sisters to think critically and think for themselves. Otherwise, this is going to continue to happen. People are going to be twisted around until they are literally, and we're kind of already there, begging for their own enslavement. And we don't want that. So please do what you can to ask your brothers and sisters to think critically. Share this article if you find it helpful or informative, and tell people, let's stop celebrating the criminals. Let's start celebrating our own people. Let's start celebrating the people in our backyards and our communities that have done things for us that we can actually point to. Our family members and our associates and our close friends who lift us up and value us and empower us, rather than these people who take from us, who come after us and attempt to control us and dominate our lives. Let's not celebrate those people, because they're criminals and they're responsible for death, violence, murder, and all kinds of atrocious things that I hope none of us would support. So thank you guys for watching. This is Derek Rose. Remember, you are powerful, you are beautiful, and you are free. Peace.